Good morning, Vietnam, boy, 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 boy. I feel honored and the privilege, and you ain't gotta ever worry about me taking you out of anything, cause I know you where you supposed to be at right now. I am elated, and I want to make sure the world knows a good friend of mine is going to join me tonight. So I'm asking y'all, good people, to share, 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 share. Um, the Alderwoman Gibson Carter, Kesha Gibson-Carter, KGB, no, KGC is in the building, y'all. And so I want to make sure it's clear. My name is Jay, a friend of Miss Carter. That's my name tonight. And so I appreciate you taking the time to be with me, Miss Carter. Here we talk about the what if scenarios, and it is what it is. And you know what? We got a pickle in Savannah, Georgia. I know we got a pickle in Savannah, Georgia, but we know what we got when we got you coming on the show. So, how you doing tonight? We about 24 hours away from the debacle that happened at the Capitol Hill in Chatham County. How you doing tonight?
I don't know about a debacle. I slept very well last night.
I know
All
you
is well.
did.
All is well. All is well. I want to say hello, Savannah. Hello, Savannah. And hello to It Is What It Is.
It is what it is.
Thank you so much for having me on your show tonight.
No, no problem, no problem. So basically, we go into what if scenarios, and so, what if I had to say, I don't want to break it up because I'm bad at quoting people, but it's rumor out there, WTOC, WJCL, WVAN. That's a new news station if you didn't know about WVAN. All those news stations, and y'all catch that in just a second. All these news stations they want to get to know who you are and everything like that. You ain't changed nothing since you've been in office, have you?
I have not. I have
So,
not.
so why all these people want to get to know you all of a sudden?
I'm not sure. I have been doing what I'm doing now for 25 years for the citizens of Savannah, from helping victims of domestic and sexual violence, from helping youth who were members of gangs to seniors who were nutrition insecure, and homeless families with children. And so for 25 years, I have a stellar record of performance in not only serving the organizations well, but also serving the people of Savannah who are in the most need.
Oh man, and I know this for a fact firsthand, working with you in the community. I think the only cleanup I've seen being done is between you and Alderwoman Blakely. Between y'all two, y'all make sure the neighborhoods get cleaned up. Y'all cleaning up some neighborhoods, and we got aldermen don't even show up to those neighborhoods. But I'm gonna leave that alone. I ain't here to pick up on anybody.
Well,
I'm
and,
gonna be. Go ahead. Go ahead.
and you know that, and with regard to the cleanups, it's something that I started because I just get annoyed by the amount of trash on the streets of Savannah.
So you
I
ain't
love
you ain't
this
got
city.
you ain't got OCD or nothing like that.
No, I don't. I don't.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
saying that, but if you see my house right now, it's like, but it pains me because I don't know that the city has been more
Hey.
littered than it is right now. But of course, Jay, as Alderwoman at Large for Post One for the city of Savannah, I didn't come to City Hall to create a cleanup campaign. I could have done that as a everyday
Without the
citizen.
campaign, yeah.
And I want to encourage our everyday citizens to join the effort and grab a picker and a bag and do the same in your neighborhood. That's among the least of my skill, but a lot of my worth and value in that I recognize that the mindset that accompanies someone who would engage in that type of behavior, it says a lot about what we have by way of a hope for the citizens of Savannah. And so that's my plank for mayor of the city of Savannah. It's to be a person who would inspire people to love Savannah. I want Savannahans to love Savannah as much as the people who visit here, as much as the people who tour here, and as much as the people who work here and leave and go back home. In addition, I want to be your advocate. As your advocate, I will speak up and speak out on behalf of the people of Savannah in the places where you are not, where it's most important. And I want to be an accessible public servant. I'm not a politician, Jay. I said that throughout the campaign
Yeah.
trail in 2019. I'm a public servant. With my mixed array of experience in the vast social services continuums, I bring a unique set of skills and abilities to this table that's much different. You know, there isn't often that you hear a politician advocating for nonprofit organizations. It isn't often that you hear a politician advocating for support for their little league teams. And that's what you're not going to hear in this media spin this week. You won't hear how my advocacy, my voice, and my support have shepherded our city into providing, through the efforts of our new city manager, the most revenue for our little league teams, cash dollars, to provide support, in an hope that we are backdooring our way into averting crime and gun violence in our community. In addition, we were very instrumental in making sure that every single nonprofit organization that petitioned the city for funding through our CDBG dollars and through our community services dollars, they got exactly what they asked for. For the first time in the history of Savannah, those nonprofits got 100% of what they asked for. I'm really excited to have helped to shepherd our city council into establishing an impact fee that will help some of our neighborhoods like the Highlands that are often left out with regard to support from our local government as well as our county government. And so when development starts at the Highlands, we will now have a resource whereby we can, in real time, start to build and incorporate police facilities, fire facilities, libraries, recreation facilities. That area has undergone an enormous amount of growth. And in that growth, we have not matched it with the everyday living accommodations that they need. And so that's the kind of difference I want to make. In addition, we also want to make sure that we are doing away with wasteful spending. Right now, the Arena project is the perfect example of wasteful spending. It is the single largest construction project in the history of Savannah, $165 million. Dollars.
Jesus.
Of that $165 million, when I came into office, it was 5 million. Then it went up to 7 million that we were devoting to parking. Now I understand that it's up to $19 million for a
Wow.
parking pad that we are not utilizing. That parking pad, from January of 2020 to now, we have been paying monthly toward a $550,000 lease per year over a 5-year period on property that we're not purchasing, but property we are leasing. So after developing the land that is unenvironmentally safe to the tune of about $9 million, we have a remaining 4 years on the lease. We turn the property back over to its owners at Chatham Steel.
So you mean to tell me we not gonna keep the property? We ain't gonna keep, you
No,
know. So Savannah
it has
loses on
to
the asset. That's
it
what you're
has
saying.
to be the worst real estate deal in the history of the nation. Not
And
Savannah.
was this real estate deal done during this administration or was it previous administrations?
It was finalized during this administration, which means we could have changed it. We could have changed it, and there was no change. And so we want to make sure that we are doing away with that wasteful spending. We are uh, not raising people's taxes. Last year, the majority on this council raised the millage rate or kept it the same, which essentially is raising people's taxes. Right now, in the second district, we have a 95-year-old lady who lives in the corridor where 4 condominiums will be sold for $750,000, which makes her taxes go up. And so, how does a 95-year-old woman, you know, position herself to absorb that increase? It's not
Yeah,
fair. We
that's
have no
crazy.
inclusionary zoning. And so we are fighting for those equitable policies. And I'm pleased to be supported by Alderwoman Bryant Lanier, who is very well versed in that area and has made her position known in terms of what we need to do, not only for her district, but throughout Savannah. And then we want to make sure we are taking care of those who we expect to protect and serve our citizens of Savannah, and that's our police department. We expect police officers to protect and serve the citizens of Savannah. We, thereby, as leaders of this community, should make sure we are protecting and serving our police officers. Never in the history of this nation has it been more difficult to be a police officer. We are right now deficient in the number of police officers we currently have on our force. Over 100 police officers down. And that doesn't include the ones who are on medical leave and who are suspended for whatever reason. And so when we have that equation, we don't know that policing can't stop crime because we're deficient. Why are we deficient? Because we are losing more police officers than we are recruiting. And we're not losing police officers because they're going to other stations or going to other jobs or leaving policing. We're losing police officers to waitress jobs. I met a police officer from Metro who left, and she's a waitress. So we have a problem with leadership there. It's commonly and widely known. Throughout the city of Savannah, we have staffers who are suffering. We have a city manager who I'm hopeful will help us to right those wrongs that have been done and turn that ship around. But until then, we need a leader who can get out of the way of the city manager, take politics out of personnel, and do the right thing. Morale is at an all-time low. If you can imagine, since I've been in office, I've had 4 city managers. I've only been in
Oh
office
wow.
2 years. And you, as an elected official, what does that say to you?
That's redundant because I mean, when you don't have no cohesiveness in that office, it takes anywhere from 6 months to even just start to get through the weeds of things and how money is. When we talking about $400-500 million, we ain't talking about no chump change.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, no cohesiveness to it. I mean, it causes a bigger rift in our government structure. So I mean, I can only imagine. You come to work one day and then you got a whole brand new person you got to work with every single time.
Yeah.
I just don't see it.
And so, and that's those are the wrongs that we want to make right. We cannot go and resurrect old city managers who behaved badly when they were in office and expect them to do the right thing when they come back to office. We cannot keep with this uh, good old boy way, the establishment way of doing business. In 2019, the electorate spoke loud and clear, and they sent an indictment across the entire city of Savannah administration and voted nearly an entire council out, and in short order voted a new one in. Uh,
Hmm.
as that indictment came about, in my mind, I came in recognizing that spoke volume. Though the people of Savannah wanted change. They said no more business as usual, no more establishment politics, no more are we interested in investing in brick and mortar projects. We want more investment in flesh and blood. And what do? In short order, over the last 2 years, we basically just picked up that baton from the previous administration and we ran with it. The majority on our council ran with it. And as a person who did not come in interested in being a part of the big boys club, I said last night, I don't need a car account at the local BMW or Mercedes dealership to lease me a car. I don't need someone coming to paint my home or do repairs or add on additions. I don't need the ride in the private jet or the dinner at the Chatham Club or the golf club. I came here to serve. Again, I'm not a politician, I'm a public servant. And as such, you have to deny yourself. And that's what I'm presenting myself for to the city of Savannah once again. I'm denying myself. This is hard work. This is some heavy lifting.
Yeah, man.
I've been the most judged, the most criticized, the most ridiculed person on council, all but for my voice. We've gone through ethics complaints, reprimands, being stripped from my role on council in the position that my counterparts voted me in. They
So so
actually wanted
so
me to be
so
mayor pro
so
tem.
so 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 talk about that because what if is about what it is, and we're trying to figure out why is this such a big why is it such a big deal? I mean, like I told you the other day, I'm trying to find out why it's such a big deal because you can't even fill the seat until the next term. So
Right.
now you exist. Now you
So,
don't
so
even
what
have
kind
somebody
of
to sit in
what?
it.
So that tells you on its face, if the seat cannot be filled by virtue of the way the charter is, the rules of council are written, if it can't be filled, if you remove the person, what was the seat worth anyway?
And that's what I'm trying
I'm
to
not.
figure out.
I wasn't getting a stipend for it. I wasn't getting extra money
You ain't
for it.
getting
I
the
wasn't
extra
getting
two
paid.
dollars for it or nothing like that. I
No,
mean,
I wasn't getting $25,200.
yeah,
I'm
you.
still just getting $25,000 a year. That's it.
And please remind the people, say that again, because they think that you making hundreds of thousands of dollars,
No,
when we talk about some people got brand new trucks and brand new side hustles and everything. We ain't gonna go there, but some people get all that extra. But you just doing the
no.
same thing, the
I
same.
just look like this. Like the young people say, I just look like this. I just God is good. I'm blessed. You know. Um, but with that, it's just like with the ethics complaint. And what the media won't do is they won't follow through or tell the whole story. So the ethics complaint is filed because the alderwoman cursed out her colleagues. No, the alderwoman didn't curse out her colleagues.
And this was done in executive session,
It was done in
right?
executive session. So guess what? No one heard it except for the people who were in executive session. So it would not have been offensive to anyone had you not spilled it out. But in your spilling it out, you had to acknowledge what was it I actually said and why I said it. Okay, here you go, Jay.
I'm
You
listening.
have a 25-year stellar performer in this city. I have dedicated my life's work to the citizens of Savannah. Why on earth do you think I would come to the city of Savannah on this grand stage and all of a sudden lose my marbles or go crazy and or become ballistic and unhinged? Right? No. Why?
It don't make no sense.
I come to this table and because I don't sell out, because I don't take all of the perks, you have to discredit my voice because I'm crazy enough to say out loud what's really going on under that gold dome. And we had a council member who left office during the last term and
Hmm.
they came up with this Gold Dome Chronicles and spilled all the beans. Well,
Oh,
I'm not going to wait until I get out of the office
you gonna
because
do it while
what
you
good is
in?
that going to do for the people?
I agree.
And so we need to have these matter of fact dialogues in real time. People need to know about wasteful spending within the local government. People need to know how the city staff is being treated. People need to know that we are in a crime crisis in this city. Savannah is not safe. Savannah is not safe when you have 13 and 14-year-olds riddling 50 and 60 bullets at a time in a home where there are women and children.
And make sure you say the age. Make sure you say the
13 and
age.
14 years
There
old.
you go.
Savannah is not safe. And again, we don't know if policing is gonna solve the problem or help because we don't have enough police officers. Who says policing can't stop crime? If you're speeding down Abercorn and cross over Durant Avenue and you see a police officer, guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna slow down.
Yeah.
So we don't have the ability to saturate our communities when it comes to our police officers and to know what they really can do. And then we want to talk about equity and equity policies. And you know what? I want people to know that equity, when we start talking about equity, don't get it twisted. It's not just about black and white, brown and
Yes.
green.
Yes.
Equity is about economics. And when I talk about equity, I'm talking about holding the powerful accountable. I'm talking about making the powerful pay their fair share. Our ports, Savannah College of Art and Design, our tourism industry. It's time that we share in the wealth. And I don't want to take anything away from those people. I don't want to incorporate any punitive taxes and fees. But what I want to do is establish partnerships whereby these individuals are now investing in the community that they have benefited from for decades. What else
Man.
is equity? Equity is not voting against the Weeping Time property.
Hmm.
It's not voting against the awful atrocity that occurred in the city of Savannah in 1859, where over 400 individuals were stripped from their family members and sold into slavery. That's what equity is.
And the
Equity,
sad part about it, and I don't want to cut you off, but the sad part about it is we talking about the same equity And the people who are up there with you are all supposed to be part of the same political party, political structure that's fighting against critical race theory. And here we are in our own backyard as Democrats, erasing the history of the community. And so it's very important for
Well,
these conversations to be had.
it is very important, Jay. And the thing is, for me, where I'm sitting, when it comes to party affiliation and alliance politics, that doesn't excite me. You know why? Because when it comes to your infrastructure, when it comes to whether or not we are
It's black and
recycling
white.
or not,
Yeah,
when it comes to your whether or not you have sidewalks in your community, when it comes to crime and blight in your community, it doesn't matter if you're Democrat, Republican, black, white, man, boy, girl. All you know at the end of the day is that you want your city services. And
I
how do
agree.
we ensure that you're getting your city services and getting them in an effective and efficient way? We are treating the city staff in a way in which they want to come to work, they want to do their jobs, they love their work, and they are given the freedom and the space and are supported by leadership who allow them to do the work.
I agree.
What else does equity mean? Equity also means not canceling MLK Day, but hosting St.
Uh oh.
Patrick's Day.
Uh oh.
When you do that, you automatically divide the community. One on one, neighbor to neighbor, colleague to colleague, student to student, we are far more a unified community than we are divided. It's the leaders of this community. It's the leaders of the community through their failed policies, through their failed opportunities. We create division. We create racism, much like what we have on our council. In 2019, as we enter the end of the election season, going into 2020, Van Johnson and Estella Shabazz were the most senior people on council. And they knew what 5 votes meant more than anybody coming into office.
Because they were the
And as
seniors. Yeah.
they were seniors, and as opposed to them seeking to unify us as a council so that we could be locked in step as a unified nine, the two of them raced to the finish line to get their 5. Estella failed and Van won. And in him winning, there was no looking back. No looking back. There was no intent to unify this council because it was only in the division that they would continue to get what they wanted if we did not sell out. And it's okay. It's okay for you to sell out and for you to do whatever it is that you're doing to get whatever it is that you have. If that's okay. But please don't get in my way when I call out what you're doing or when I'm advocating for my people or when I don't want to give the appearance that I'm with you in all of the foolishness. My tagline coming into office was not for sale. I am not for sale for anyone. And so in that, we come up with these pieces related to the ethics complaint, to the reprimand, to the removal of office. What does it mean? It doesn't mean a hill of beans. You know
Nothing at
why?
all.
Because I'm still here. No one can move me from this seat except for the people of Savannah. Over 11,000 people voted for me. 11,500 people voted for me to get into this seat. I was among the top two vote getters. Alderwoman Alicia Miller Blakely obtained the most votes. And so for me, I'm not a gamer. It's not about a numbers game. I don't play with people's lives. I don't play games. I don't like games. I didn't play jacks as a kid. I didn't play with dolls. I didn't play house. I didn't play hopscotch. Right now today I don't even play the radio in my car. I just don't play.
Uh
You know,
oh.
I don't play with people's lives. And so when we are talking about the lives of people in unity, we can't cancel an African American holiday and uphold an Irish holiday. How do you do that? Right? And so we want to make sure that all of our people feel like they are a part of this city and a part of her leadership. Then you have the inequity in the allocation of CARES Act funding. How in the world is it that you have in the city of Savannah that's predominantly African American You allocate resources to 50 businesses who receive up to $50,000. And of those 50 businesses, only two were African American. And then the inequity geographically, of those 50 businesses, 90% of them were in the downtown corridor. You forget about all of
Wow.
the white businesses, the black businesses, the brown businesses on the south side, on the west side, in East Savannah.
And those are the areas that need just as much equity as the other
And
inside
we
downtown.
cannot hide behind the fact that somebody else did. You can't do that when you are a leader. You have to take responsibility. And so, what we want to do going forward is we want to make sure, make certain that we are unifying Savannah, we are unifying our council, and we are unifying our staff. This is the most unhealthy council that I have knowledge of. I have traveled to the National League of Cities and I've attended conferences at the state level with the Georgia Municipal Association. And there isn't one council member I have come across, those who are in the majority on their council, as well as those who are in the minority on their council. And not one of them speak to the experiences that we have here in Savannah. This is a very sick administration. And so what we want to do is we want to heal her, we want to help her, and we want to get her over the hurdle and help her take her rightful place as the beautiful city of Savannah that she is.
All right, so you know I can't let you go nowhere without talking about this tagline. So your tagline, let me get this correct. What was your tagline in 20 what was it? 2019?
Not for sale.
Not for sale. So so you know the all the news anchors and everybody under the sun have given you a new tagline.
What
Now,
is
do you
that?
want me to say your new tag?
I
It
have no.
doesn't matter about the chair when one day I'm going to be the mayor. So you can just carry on with the nonsense. I added that area to carry on with the nonsense. But we hear you got a new tagline and everything like that. And you know what? I've been with you from day one, to son. And I'm not gonna be one of the ones who push you into a corner to run for mayor. If you're gonna run for mayor, you're gonna run for mayor because God told you to do it. And ain't no man on earth, I don't care if you said that, because they don't even know, you might just be talking about that 20 years from now. But
Right,
everybody's going to assume that you're talking about it next year. But
right.
Alderwoman Kesha Gibson-Carter, keep doing what God has sent you to do.
Yes.
Be the voice for the people. Be the voice for those people who are downtrodden, left out, not in the conversation. I am beyond proud, and beyond repair. I'm disappointed with some people because you know what? There's so much we could be doing in this community right now, bringing equity as far as DBEs are concerned, as far as bringing construction companies to the forefront, just like Atlanta did back in the 70s when Andrew Young got in office. He made a pact with the governor and said, "Look here, my people, what they need is equity. They need an opportunity to be able to do just like everybody else." And when I say that, that's not a black or white conversation. That's a poor and rich conversation. And just as much as those people who have it in privilege, those people who are poor need it just as much.
Yes.
And for Savannah to be suffering almost 20, 30 years in the 30+% column as far as poverty is concerned, it's atrocious, it's egregious, it's any other word you can say this in a negative term.
It's flat out unacceptable.
Yeah.
Jay, we generate the most money for Georgia, only second to Atlanta. Savannah generates the most money for Atlanta, only second to Savannah generates the most money for Georgia, only second to Atlanta. That's a big deal.
That's
We
a huge
boast
deal.
of having one of the largest ports in the nation, the best ports. When I don't like talking about the ports around my longshoremen. I have to get it exactly right. They say we the best, we the biggest, we the most producing. Our port is it and all of that. How about that, guys? I love my longshoremen, and we are essentially the tourist capital of the Southeast. We have a lot of worth. We have a lot of value in this community. And for us to be making up nearly three times the national average in poverty is unacceptable. And it's because of the lack of initiatives and policies that are inclusive with livable wages, Yes, we can't do much about minimum wage because of a state statute, but guess what we can do? When we are bonding hotels, when we are establishing opportunities for businesses to come to this city, we can put demands on them as a trade off. Okay, if you want this bond from the city of Savannah, everybody who works here at your hotel have to start off with $15 an hour. We can no longer continue to allow the giants to take all. Gentrification is running rampant in our community. If we do not do something within the next administration, before that, actually,
We got two
in the
years.
next 5 to 7 years,
Yeah.
the complexion of Savannah will change. And her complexion won't be all black and white. Her complexion will be green because no longer will Savannah be for the people who were born and raised here. It will be more people who come here, vacation here, have Airbnbs here, and just chill out here. That's what your Savannah will be. Inclusionary zoning. We need it and we need it now. We can't wait. Between November and January, between November of 2021 and and January of 2022, we approved over 1,000 unaffordable housing units. Over 1,000 unaffordable housing units from the east side to the downtown corridors. We just wiped out Clearview.
Man.
Who else is on the chopping block? And let's not talk
Yamacraw.
about Stillwell.
Yamacraw. Don't forget about
The,
Yamacraw.
the, the housing authority of Savannah. That place needs to be jacked up, shaken, pull the lid off, turn it upside down, and all around. We have to have a leader who will make these bold demands and not be concern about friendship, relationship, and kinship. When you're going to give $1 million on the whim to your buddy over at United Way, and we have no clue, no idea where those resources are going, no, you can't do that. Not when we have the inner city night shelter perfectly poised to provide support service to the worst of the worst of the worst and the hardest to serve of our homeless population, those who are mentally challenged without support, those who have strong criminal history, those who are sex offenders. There's only one agency in this city that can take care of those people. That's why you see all those folks under the bridge because they're not getting the support that they need. Homelessness has never been what it is in this city. And I don't care what's happening in other communities. I don't care what trends are trending across the United States as it relates to poverty and homelessness and uh, little police. We have a standard here. Just like I tell my children, I don't care what your friends and my neighbors are doing with their kids. We have a
Man.
standard here in this house.
Yes, ma'am. You better tell them.
And in Savannah, the resources are plentiful. We just need to get the right people in the right seat to make the right decisions. And when the bear was poked, it
Uh
was
oh.
no joke.
Uh oh.
When the bear was poked, it was no more joking around. Because if this is the best that we can do by utilizing the resources of the city and our time and the staff, aggravating the city attorney and the city manager and the city clerk, no, we can't do this. We can't go on in this thick administration. So what we're going to do, we're going to buy our time. We're going to do what we have to do in this next 12 to 18 months. And then when it's time, we're going to hit a reset button and we're going to take Savannah in the direction. We're not going to make her great again because she never was great. She ain't never been great.
We just
But
gonna make her great.
we're just going to make her great.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, man. I appreciate you taking the time. I know I only had 30 minutes, and I know I elaborated for 5, 6 minutes, but I appreciate you taking the time. It's so important for your message to be out there, be heard. Um, um, you know, I want this not to be the last time. And like I told you, me and you talked. Maybe we need to make sure we have a reflection out there every single time that we have a city council meeting. Maybe we just need to give a candid conversation about we saw what we saw on TV. Now this is how it affects us.
This is actually
Because
what happened.
because
And I
this is
want
this
people
is
to
it.
go to the January 27th agenda. Jay, during the last meeting, the workshop was devoted to the removal of the I-16 flyover under the guise of reclaiming the old West Broad Street corridor. There was talk of returning her to her heyday, where in the heyday it was a black mecca for businesses in that area. Are we really reclaiming her for that? Well,
Yeah.
let's see some evidence of it.
What if you
Also,
and if you said you were doing that, where's the policy that goes with that? That's my
exactly,
question. Where's the
exactly.
policy that goes with
So,
that?
so we want to do away with gaslighting the people. I want the citizens of Savannah to understand and recognize this is not about a popularity contest. We can no longer relegate our life, safety, our health, and harmony in our community. We no longer can relegate that to friendship, kinship, and relationship. This is not about who likes who. Guys, this is about what we want this city to be. You all are raising children, they're going off to college, they're matriculating at Savannah State and GSU. These kids are not going to stay here because they won't be able to afford to stay here. We need to create the Savannah for our families that we want to see.
And I like your ship analogy, but I want to add one more ship that we got to get rid of: ownership. We got to stop being owned by the establishment and the
Yes,
economics
sir.
that drive it. And so we need to make sure the ownership dissipates away too, so we can make sure that Savannah itself is the only true ownership of the economics and the drivers within our community, because
And you
that's the
know
only
why
way we're gonna
that's
make it great.
you know why that's so important, Jay?
I'm
The
listening.
ownership piece. And this isn't popular when I say it, but I've become known for saying things that
Well,
people
you,
think
well,
that they're
well,
not
you ain't
courageous
popular
enough to
anyway,
say.
so just go ahead and say it.
The ownership piece. For decades in our city, we have had African American leadership at almost every level in the city: mayor, council members, county commissioner, commissioners. We've had black DAs, we've had black police chiefs, we have black judges. Um, we've had almost every top leader. We've had a person in every level of leadership in this city except for the sheriff, right? African Americans.
Yes.
But what has African Americans benefited as a result of that? And they have benefited very little because of that ownership piece. So, what I want people to stop doing for a moment is stop talking about what the white man is doing to people, because it's not fair, and start talking about what the black leaders have not done and allowed a few white men to do to people in Savannah. And so, with that, we want to go forth recognizing, again, as I stated earlier, we are far more unified than we are divided as neighbors, as colleagues, as students, as church members. And we want that to be our focus. And don't get caught up in the rhetoric of these giants when they try to intentionally divide us as a community. And with that, I look forward to being your mayor for the city of Savannah. But until then, I'm in the seat of Alderwoman at Large, post one of the city of Savannah. Thank you
And
so
we
much.
and we're gonna do everything we can to make sure you and keep standing on Kesha Gibson. We're smarter with Carter, as someone else told me out there in the world, and we're going to stand with you. And I appreciate you. And we're going to bring you back on the show. And I know you had to take care of business, so we're going to let you
Well, I'm
exit out
making
on
my
your own.
rounds. I
Yes,
feel
ma'am.
like I'm on a little traveling circuit. I think I'm going to be on everybody's show this week. So
We're
I'll
gonna make
I'll
sure
probably
you
see you again.
we're gonna make sure you get 7 days worth of work out you. So
Yes,
tell Coach
sir.
Carter, if I gotta fill in to work out or something like that, let him know. I'll do an exercise or something like
Yes,
that.
sir.
But
You
I
can join
appreciate you
me. He
coming.
told me I have to get back in the gym, so you can join me.
Well, you hold me accountable to that. I'll make sure I do
Yes.
that. Thank you,
Yes.
Kesha.
Thank you. I love you, Savannah. Good night.
And so this is Jay Jones. I'm back. The What If Show. We're talking about what if, and we just had a 40-minute conversation with Alderwoman Kesha Gibson-Carter. Alderwoman Kesha Gibson-Carter, and I'm glad she took the time to address those issues, address those conversations, and make sure she had her statement out there. Because a lot of times when we allow somebody else to tell the story, then our story is not complete, and it's not always to the table, and it's not always adjusted the way it should be stated. And so I want to send a shout out to her for making sure that she came here on this platform to say her story, her conversation. And she's a good friend of mine. We make sure we have good conversations, and it's a core group of us that have these dialogues among ourselves, because you know what we have lost track at is we no longer have those conversations in closed room doors where we can make sure that we have one unified front out there to address those issues within the confines of the city of Savannah, Chatham County, and those other surrounding communities. And so it is what it is addressing those narratives that people have a hard time making sure they want to communicate and talk about. And so what I've been doing is the what if scenario. And my what if scenario today was, what if Kesha Gibson-Carter said, she said it 3 or 4 times before, and it's been said all over the news, but what if Kesha Gibson-Carter ran for mayor? What would our city look like in Savannah, Georgia? And she's just giving you a 40-minute interlude to what that would look like and what that conversation really would be. So I appreciate y'all for taking the time to listen to this 1 hour special as far as what we want to do for Kesha Gibson-Carter and making sure her message is heard. And this public announcement, I will put this out here because I don't want my producer to get mad at me when I say this. Anybody on city council can come on this show, but just understand this: if you say something that I don't think or I do not agree with that stands for the people, I will call you out for it, because it's so important for us to make sure we're speaking on behalf of the people. And the one thing about heart, everybody knows when somebody speaks from the heart, you can hear it, and it's loud and clear. And it's so important for us to make sure that we're listening to people who are standing up for those with the heart of gold and those who want to make sure they change the narrative and move the narrative forward. And so, I kind of feel cheated because you know what? She didn't say so much that I don't even have any other what if scenarios or statements to even say, because she has to have it. It's either good talk or it's great talk, because you know what? It's been repetitive. And what I've learned through my time in history, when somebody repeats the message over and over and over again, they're either a good liar or they're speaking straight from the heart. And I think that Kesha Gibson-Carter gave us a 40-minute message that was straight from the heart. We talk about 28% poverty. You're right, John. 28% poverty that existed for almost 30 years in this community. And not one time have we heard city council address that 28% poverty. We talk about the homeless issues in our community. Homeless has not gotten any better over the time here. And guess what? It's still prevalent. It's still one. So when we talk about all these different narratives that Alderwoman Kesha Gibson-Carter brought up to us and told us in the first 40 minutes of this show, and now we fast forward to this moment right here where we're getting to the last 15 minutes and we're going to close out with this conversation. It's so important. It's so prevalent that we take the time to make sure we stop listening to the negative Nancy conversations behind closed doors. Stop listening to our foes and friends who don't mean us nothing and can't give you any factual information. And it's time for us to start listening to the narratives and listening to the heart, because what I heard right now is 40 minutes of heartfelt conversation, and everybody can say what they want to say. And we always want to be the first one to judge. And the sad part of it is sometimes we can't even get our own neighborhoods before we have judgment passed toward us. But it's so important for us to make sure that we get the message out there and the message is clear. And I thank you, Kesha, for yesterday when you set the record straight and you let us know what was really going on in that agenda. Because I sat in that room one point in time. I sat in that chair one point in time. And you know what's right. And you know how it's going to affect the people. But guess what? A lot of times people will sit there in that chair and have their fingers crossed and they waiting for that meal. Kesha, you know where I'm going at. They waiting for that free meal that's given to you after city council, after county commission, after those meetings. They waiting for that free meal because that free meal is probably going to be the best meal they had that week, because they don't have a meal like that at home. And so it's so important that when we have elected leadership, they're not worried about that meal after city council, after county commission, after those city meetings. They're more worried about the meal of the black community, the impoverished community, the crime community, and all these other negative Nancy communities sitting on the table, being digested and eaten alive, because guess what? We don't have time to make sure we address those issues. And so guess what? Maybe it is time for a new mayor. It's not my chance or my choice to make that decision. The people in Savannah will make that decision in 2023. Just like the people in Georgia will be making the decisions about who will be the next set of leadership across the state of Georgia. And so with me saying that, I've already set up conversations to have with the DA's office. I've already had conversations and my thing is anybody who's on the county commission, you're more than welcome to come on this conversation. I will try my best to talk to the coroner. I will try my best to even talk to the tax commissioner. I think she wants to get on here too. But it's so important for us to start having these conversations. And between today and the end of the year, you're going to talk to all kinds of people who affect your lives and who can change your narrative, whether it be for the good or for the bad. But until you step into the polls and make sure you either run for office or you step into the polls and you make sure you vote every time an election ballot person is put on the ballot, we're going to keep getting the same old gravy. And y'all know how gravy is. You don't like that gravy you was served 10 years ago, so why are you trying to play like you good with that gravy now? If you want brand new set of gravy, you need to put some brand new people who know how to cook it. Make sure that gravy tastes good on that mashed potatoes or whatever else you eating out there in this world. So with me closing out, yes, I am a friend of Miss Carter, and I support you, Miss Carter. I know you in the background watching me and everything like that as we close this whole thing out. And so I'm going to talk to my producer. I'm going to see if he can let me go 11 minutes early because you know what? I'm going to go and watch TV. And he done gave me the thumbs up, so I'm getting ready to go and watch TV. So I will say it just like this. The new quote for 2022, it doesn't matter about the chair when one day I'm going to be the mayor. So you can carry on with that foolishness. You can carry on with that mess. And you can carry on with it. I'm going to throw hey, Julius, dropping the mic. Go ahead and close us out here, man. I'll see y'all next week. Friday, it is what it is. And you don't have to get with this. What if scenarios are coming to you? And we have a whole list of shows. Tune in, follow ATR. Peace, y'all.